Hey guys, Devil here. Hope everyone is doing great. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about my experience, what I felt for the past couple days as I played some of the King of Fighters 13 beta currently on the PlayStation 4 slash PlayStation 5. I'm gonna talk about my experience in terms of how the netcode is, but I'm mainly gonna talk about something else, which is, as this title suggests, is playing this game really made me miss the 2D sprites. The amazing SNK 2D sprites. Now, let's talk about the King of Fighters 13 here for a second. And as you know, the beta for the PlayStation 4 version slash 5 of the game is currently underway. There's one more day left. And from my experience, I think I had pretty good, it was a pretty good experience. I played against multiple people online. I tried some low pings, some high pings as well. And I think the game is in a good state right now. It's coming out in November for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. But I played it on PlayStation 5, so the PlayStation 4 version, and I had some really great matches. I found myself really getting into the game. King of Fighters 13 is one of the games that I loved so much, but I only played for story. I didn't get to play competitively as I did with 14 and 15 right now, or the previous games before 98, or 98 prior. So it was around that time when I was really busy with life, a lot of changing things happening to me, like getting married, getting a job, etc. So it was around that time, so I didn't really play it as much as I wanted to. But now, having more experience with 15, I just found myself enjoying the game. And the first thing, because I haven't played it in a bit, like few months, and then seeing those sprites again, man, it's just insane. It's just so beautiful. Now let's finish talking about the actual beta. As I said, it's great. I had a couple crashes, maybe twice of the lobby crashing, but I'm not sure what happened there. Other than that, for all the days that I played it, I think it played really good. I had some. I tried playing against some people with high pings, and you can adjust the rollback, the number of rollback frames. And doing that, really, I was able to play. I had some really playable matches against people with 200, 250 milliseconds of ping, which is really, really high. But anything below 150 was really, really smooth. I noticed that the stages are not moving, like they're static. Like the beautiful stages of the King of Fighters 13 are static by default. You can change that. Apparently, from what people are saying, is due to lag, maybe to reduce the lag. I'm not sure if that's true. I'm not sure what's the reason. But they're actually static when you play online. And I'm not sure if this is only in the beta. So it's kind of, but there's an option for it to make them dynamic. So it's in great hands. It's releasing next month. I can't wait to have it. No news yet about if it's coming out on PC. I'll be very surprised if it isn't. But the King of Fighters 13 global match is coming out next month. Now let's talk about what I said. Looking at those sprites, man, it's like every time I see them, especially if I don't play the game for a while, I get that feeling, that almost the same feeling I had when I first saw the King of Fighters 12 sprites. As you know, the King of Fighters 12 was kind of like a demo, if you will, to the King of Fighters 13. They wanted to have they couldn't release the game in time, from what I understood, because of how much time it took them to get those sprites. So they released 20 characters, and that was the King of Fighters 12. It was a test, kind of, on how to make the King of Fighters 13, which is a masterpiece. So as I said, it really made me miss 2D sprites. And as you know, when SNK had the rivalry going on with Capcom, after Street Fighter 2, so many fighting games came out and trying to compete with Street Fighter. But SNK was doing its own thing in parallel to Capcom, and they were the only company that actually rivaled Capcom in so many ways, and in so many ways did even better. And one of the things that everybody loved about the SNK games were the sprites. The sprites were beautiful, really nice, nicely animated, and so much, character. You can get so many feelings just looking at those characters and movements. And I'm talking about the Neogeonow ones. Obviously, those sprites did age. They used them and reused them. And it was time to do something else, and that's when the King of Fighters 12 brought these brand new sprites. But the thing is, as much as I love sprites, their times is unfortunately done. What happened is, these sprites are so expensive. In fact, when SNK made the King of Fighters 12 and 13, they almost went bankrupt because it was so expensive and time consuming to make this sprite. Now, some people were, whenever SNK announces something, when they announced the new Fatal Fury, which looks amazing, people saying, is it going to be in 2D? It's not going to be in 2D. This is before we saw the game in motion. It's not going to be 2D because it's just not possible at this time. The reason is, if you compare, a sprite from the 90s like this one, and then you compare it with this one for the King of Fighters 13, you notice such a big difference, right? I mean, the huge difference. And the reason is because the old sprites, first of all, they were on a lower resolution, which means you didn't have to show all the details, right? A lot of the beauty of pixel art, it looks amazing, but also it doesn't have a lot of details, you know, like you don't have to draw everything, all the shades, all the colors, so all the expressions. So it was easier to draw in 2D and create 2D sprites, which is, by the way, are hand drawn, which is crazy. For the King of Fighters 13, the resolution of the game was at 720p, which is 1280 by 720, which means the sprites needed to be in HD. They needed to be high quality. And in fact, it took them 16 months, between 14 and 16 months to complete just one character. In fact, every character, as you might not know this, but every 2D character in a fighting game, you know, and a 60 FPS, 60 frames per second fighting game, means that each character, you know, you basically see 60 frames of that same characters in 1 second, right? It takes so many frames, hand-drawn frames, to have the whole moveset of the character. For example, for the King of Fighters 13, a typical character would have between 400 and 600 frames for one character. That means 400 and 600 images per one character. Times the number of characters we have in the King of Fighters 13, or if we're talking about a future game, it's insane. It is insane, time-consuming, and really expensive, and that's why we don't see 2D fighting games anymore. The closest I think we're gonna get to a revival of 2D, and it's not going to be particularly 2D, is cell shading, which we've seen it in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and it looks amazing. Guilty Gear Strive has it, and I think that's as close as it can get. The thing is, for the King of Fighters 13, just to, you know, some people are saying, what, 600 characters, 600 frames, 16 months, why is it taking too long? Well, because to have that fluidity, that beautiful animation that you see when you play the King of Fighters 13, is that, first of all, they create the character in 2D. They just draw a test, basically what the idle frame or the move is going to look like. And then they had to create a 3D character, a 3D model of that character. So, Terry Bogard, they created a 3D model of Terry, animate Terry in all his moves, and then take pictures and draw over them manually each frame, 600 times per one character. You can see how time consuming and how crazy expensive 2D sprites are. Yes, it's beautiful, it's amazing, but it's just not doable as we get into higher and higher resolution. Now, even the King of Fighters 13, it's 720p, as I said. So if they want to make a new game now, they have to draw in high resolution, more details, more money, more frames. It's just not doable, unfortunately, as much as everybody in the fighting game community loves 2D sprites. But I'm glad to see that people or companies are taking some nice approaches on how to present 3D characters. For example, what we saw from the Fate of Fury City of the Wolves has that cell shading feel. It looks kind of like a comic booky kind of thing, like almost like a painting. You have the cell shading done in a nice way. And of course, as the 3D is mastered, you can look, for example, Terry's hair moving and all that. It just gives a beautiful impression. It just looks like it's actually hand painted, which I think looks great. So 2D is amazing, but it's just not doable in the current time. And I'm happy that we still have the King of Fighters 13 to look at things and see how beautiful that game is. And again, the King of Fighters 13 global match is coming out in November for the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch, which means it's also playable on the PlayStation 5. No word yet on a PC version. Don't expect the PC version that you have right now, the Steam edition, to be updated to the global match. Those are two separate games. The global match is actually developed by Safari Games, which is not the same. It's not the same case for the Steam edition. But hopefully we'll get a Steam release soon, because I've mainly switched to playing on PC, and it's just more convenient to me. So what do you guys think? Did you try the King of Fighters 13 global match, and what do you think about all this sprite talk? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.